Hello and welcome. You're watching India Investor Week special, The Money Show, and the only show where we talk about your personal finance queries and give you strategies for your financial portfolio. But today, it being a special on the India Investor Week, we are going to focus on changing understanding of retirement. It's no more about retiring at 60. It's more about giving up a job and flowing with the other income stream even while you are in the job. Having a secondary source of income has become like a trend or something that people really want to strategize now. Fire concept that looks very fancy, but should be told the real planning behind it needs you to have good amount of corpus in the first place. Entrepreneurship, early retirement, multiple gigs. There's a huge shift on how people perceive the retirement, the modern understanding of retirement. But are we really ready for these kind of concepts? They are definitely very cool and they give you a sense of living your life to the fullest, but what kind of concepts these are they really, do they just look cool on Insta reels, or when we want to practically implement strategies, how difficult are they? So let's deep dive into this entire new concept of retirement that's emerging. I have with me Vinayak, Sapre, author, public speaker and financial coach, and Arnav, Pandya, founder, Money Edu School. Good evening and welcome both of you. So let me begin with the way we understand retirement now and the way you might have thought about your retirement. So Vinayak, are you also changing your mindset towards your retirement, and also maybe trying to teach your kids about the shift in this entire strategy, this entire concept of retirement? How are you perceiving it for your personal financial journey towards retirement, and how are you teaching it to your child?
Very good evening to you, Kavita, and to all the viewers. Wish them a very happy Investor Week. Thank you for asking this question. So instead of retirement, I always chose financial freedom, which was in year 2011, and then I realized that in those days, fire the concept was not there. So I thought financial independence, life at ease, wherein it was very clear in my mind that uh, I will leave the job, but I will do the things which I want to do. And secondly, at my own pace. As and when required, I can increase the pace or reduce the pace. Both the things. When it comes to teaching the kids, I kind of convey the same message to them that instead of looking at retire early, because the risk is you may retire early looking at the glamorous thing, glamorous reels on social media. The bigger risk is you may live much longer than you are thinking, right? And which is already happening. We see so many senior citizens above 80, 85, 90 around us. So that's the bigger risk, that you live longer and you don't have the money, or you will have to compromise on your lifestyle. So instead of looking at retirement early, which can be forced upon you at between the age of 45 to 50, but if you are looking at leaving your job, and then a couple of things you need to keep in mind. One is lot of deliberation should happen between you and your spouse, because once you decide to quit or decide to call it a quit, most of the time you will be I mean the maximum time you will be spending will be with your spouse. Secondly, people around you won't be there. Uh, so it is very very important to have clear understanding within the family about taking such kind of calls. Uh, I have come across people, at least five such people I know, who took that call of quitting the job, but eventually they come back after 2 3 years, because not because of the scarcity of money, but because they didn't have the idea what to do with their time. And the entrepreneurship they decided, I mean, the glamour side of entrepreneurship, which pulled them kind of out of their job, but eventually unfortunately it didn't work and they had to get into a job. Couple of them made a compromise on the salary, which could be painful. So such kind of calls definitely one should start aggressively investing, and it's a good way of provisioning for financial independence. Whether you are taking the call of retirement or not, that's a different thing. But in today's scenario, it is very, very essential that your first salary should start with your aggressive investments, so that as soon as possible you can take that call. Whether you take that call or not, that's a different thing, but it should give you that confidence, that comfort of financial independence. And then the life you can live could be of at ease. That's my take.
Only about planning your retirement, you also have to plan your life after retirement. That's the sole purpose behind getting these strategies right. So Arnav, now let's help our viewers plan the retirement better. Be it early retirement, be it just retiring from a job at the age of 40 and doing something on your own, maybe a startup, becoming an entrepreneur, or even the fire concept. What should be the right way to go about it? What should be your first step? Maybe if you're a Gen Z, maybe you've just got your first salary and you are thinking on these lines because that is what the trend says, that is what Insta Reels says and YouTube Shorts says. So what should be your first step? How should you go about it? What is that checklist that you need to have in front of you, and just keep ticking it, tick marking it whenever you get an income or whenever you plan to invest?
So there are two, three basic factors which you need to keep in mind when you're planning for retirement. The first and most important thing at some point would be that you should have an idea, or you need to look at how much you need to accumulate. And the tough part here is that this is going to be a moving figure. Okay. So today, for example, if you decide that X amount is uh, enough for me, it could be 5, 6 years later, you want to say that it's going to be X plus Y, and then maybe it's X plus Y plus Z. So this is going to be one factor which you need to always keep in mind. The other point is, which is crucial for retirement, is that start putting away money specifically for retirement. The thing is that a lot of people, what they do is that they save, they even invest, but that investment is not earmarked for retirement, which leads to a situation where often for various other goals that amount is spent. So maybe you started at 25, but at age say 37, 40, for some specific need, you have used up that part of the corpus which at some point you thought was meant for retirement. Now suddenly you don't have anything, or you have a very reduced amount or figure which is there for retirement. So that then becomes a problem. So whenever you are starting, or whenever you are putting away amounts for retirement, ensure that it is specifically earmarked so that you do not touch it. I mean, that should be the goal. Because the key part here is that for retirement, you will have to invest for a very long period of time. Whether you are working, whether you are not working, you are receiving income from different sources. Retirement corpus building requires consistent investment over a long period of time, which is why sometimes this concept of retiring very early becomes a problem, because you're not giving enough time for your, neither for your money to be invested or be contributed, and neither for that money to grow. So that is one crucial thing, that ensure that you are putting away money regularly. And second is that also think about the longer term in terms of what is going to be the effect of inflation. Because do not look at things in absolute terms. Absolute figures will keep changing over a period of time. I will just give you one very clear example. If you remember and go back to 2000, 2001, there was a BRS scheme which was introduced for public sector bank employees in India. Thousands of people took it, and the figures, or rather the amount of money that they were getting at that point of time, looked very good, because the thinking was that that amount you just simply put away in debt. And at that time, you have to remember, debt was earning 12, 13%. So that would be good enough for return. The thing is that just 5 years later, the situation had changed, because the yields on the debt instruments had gone from 12, 13% to 6, 7%. So that is a big change. And I have seen many cases out of these uh, ex bank employees who retired or took VRS and all, who then had to look for additional employment and income in the later stages of their life. So, what I am saying is that a figure which looks very good at one point of time might not be enough to take you through later stages of life, specifically when your
Right.
retirement age period is going to be 30, 40 years.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a lot of planning, and it's good that I asked this question to you. You know, it's like a reality check for all those people who just have this very fancy thought about retirement, or, you know, just giving up their job and experimenting and, you know, following the life calling, which we see a lot of Gen Zs, you know, falling into this trap. Having said that, Vinayak, I also want you to especially focus on the fact that Gen Zs or the young India, they usually don't think about retirement. Okay, even now, retirement is a concept. Is like, oh my God, you might have to just stay in one job till the age of 60, which is not acceptable anymore. But then, investing as a concept has a very high part of, you know, a very large aspect of investment is taking risk, you know, having something made in short term, like short term money making, a quick buck strategy, a lot of speculation. This is a very large part of investment, you know, if I have to think from a Gen Z's point of view, or a young investor's point of view. This kind of mindset cannot align with the retirement planning that we are talking about over here. Is that right?
Absolutely. What you are saying is absolutely correct, that the mindset of making quick buck doesn't help in making your help in getting the retirement money, or creating the right retirement corpus. As Arnav very rightly said, that if you want to create retirement corpus, one is you should not touch it for a very, very long time. And I mean, it should be sacrosanct that it is only meant for retirement. I'm not going to touch it. Uh, and then only you will allow it to grow, compound. Uh, so compounding impact only will come if you allow some decent number of years. Uh, the concept of retire early, if I am not wrong, has come only in the last 2 3 years, probably at the most 4 years, because in the last 4 years people have only seen the uptrend of the market. In the last 4 years they have not seen the downside of the market, and unfortunate part is people who have been investing through, or trading rather, uh, they get carried away with this thing that okay, market is one place which only goes up. It's not like that. And so if they see over a period of time, if they see 2 3 years of downtrend consistently, they will have to think, or they will have to get back to their plan, or they will have to go back to the drawing board to check where they are, and that's where the reality check happen may happen. And if the calculations were not done properly, or the provision for retirement, these for such bad days of the market, if we can say the negative days of the market were not done, then the whole calculation may go haywire. So it is very essential. And don't forget that the years in retirement would be, as Arnav also said, that would be much, much longer than your working life. So provision for all these things, don't get carried away by the glamorous reels which you see, because the thing is that the person who is making those reels, he doesn't know you, you also doesn't know him, right? So whether he is giving you right information or not, I don't know, because that all those things been done for the bigger number of likes and subscriptions. So you don't know the motive behind those reels. Important thing is, this is personal finance, where person comes before finance. It is very, very individualistic in nature. Assess the situation properly. Sit with your parents, sit with your spouse, and then take a call. Reason being, the people I told you that who got into the job again, they were lucky that they got the job again. but this may or may not happen in the days to come, especially when you are calling it a quit. So if you really want to take that call, do your maths, do the calculation properly, take family members into consideration, and uh, don't think of that you will not work. So you need to have a stream of income very well in your mind. And if that stream of income does not require too much of capital, that is a better idea. So if you are able to uh, identify the business where intellectual capital is required more than the financial capital, that is a better idea.
Arnav, how do you think parents can actually handhold their children with this changing concept on retirement or changing understanding of investment and financial goals that we are witnessing now?
So if you look at it from the parent side, there is one basic element which needs to be considered, and which is that you have to give the right picture to your child. Okay. So, and that is a tough part, because, and you cannot do this by preaching. So, in 100% of the cases, a child, whether he's 2 years old, is 5 years old, is 15 years old, is going to not listen to what you say, is going to observe what you do and follow what you do. So you can't be preaching one thing and doing the exact opposite. The best way, I say to parents, is that if you want to send a message to your child, do it yourself, and the child will observe, and then they will readily believe or follow this. And which is what? That if you want your child to get the right um, ideas, you have to give them proper knowledge and explain things to them why this is so. Because today's children are smart. They know exactly their maths, they know exactly what is happening around them. It's just that you need to tell them in the right manner. And that is, according to me, a more better way of going about it, because they themselves will understand. And once they have these basic concepts clear, they are more likely to follow it. And if you're
Right.
doing the same thing, then it's the chances of success go even higher.
All right. I think a lot to talk more on this, but then my time is up for this particular discussion and segment. Thank you so much, Arnav and Vinayak, for taking part in this show and helping our viewers understand the real way to strategize early retirement, or maybe the modern concepts of retirement. Thank you so much.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits, and then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.